you can see, we are in the city of Culiacan, capital of the state of Sinaloa in Mexico. Culiacan is best known for its entrepreneurs, who despite official corruption and harassment on both sides of the border, ensure that millions of US consumers obtain the drugs they love so much. This is the cathedral. This is where Alejandrina Giselle Guzman, the daughter of El Chapo Guzman, one of those entrepreneurs, was married last January. Since we've been here, we've learned that Culiacan hides a lot of surprises. Indeed, I think I can see one now. Are they nuns? I've lived a lot in Europe, so I'm more used to seeing women dressed in the Muslim niqab than in nun's garb. This is indeed a surprise. And look, they're so young. Where could they be going? Okay, let's follow them. We are in the training center of the Carmelites of the Holy Spirit, and Mother Areli has agreed to tell us something about the history of the community. So, Mother Victoria arrived here in Culiacan and met the bishop, who was Bishop Lino Aguirre y Garcia. The bishop did realize the nature of her spirituality was more towards the spirit of the Carmelites, and suggested that she should establish such a community with that Carmelite spirituality. Our Mother gave herself up to the will of God, Jesus Christ, and called for the bishop to assist her in working with Jesus Christ in this work that he was asking her to do. In that way we began, through the grace of God, and we've existed over all these years since 1957, we've witnessed God's providence and the power of God and his great love that he has for our religious family. We began a very important period later. I'm talking about April 2001. That was when our bishop, Bishop Benjamin Jimenez Hernandez, met face-to-face with Pope John Paul II. He asked the Pope to pray for our religious community, and Pope John Paul II said that we are like a garden for the heart of Jesus Christ and the Holy Mother in Culiacan. So he asked that we should work for the sanctification of priests and for the Holy Church, and that we should be especially dedicated to the Eucharist. So Bishop Benjamin is in a way our refounder of the congregation, and he helped us not only just in words, but through his own testimony, through his own life, how we should offer ourselves up as victims to Jesus Christ, to be contemplative souls in permanent prayer before the consecrated Eucharist, and to pray for the salvation of all souls. This has been a great strengthening of our community, and since its refounding in 2001, through the grace of God, we have seen a lot of fruit, benefits coming from our response to this call from Jesus Christ. This is Sister Carla Maria. She's 20 years old and she's from Culiacan. She is one of the 3 novices out of the 35 sisters in this religious community. She learnt about the sisters in August 2017 when she attended a pre-religious life vocational meeting, and she was able to examine her own vocation, and she began a vocational process of discernment to see if this was her place. And beginning with that, she did have some difficulties with her family and even with one priest to discover her vocation. She lived through some confusion, some doubts, some personal doubts. But through the grace of God, she abandoned her personal plans to study, and God gave me the grace and the determination to enter in July of 2018 into this community. Once she entered, she began her training in this community. God was calling me to this mission to give myself up, moved by the Holy Spirit, and to offer her life up to Jesus Christ for the salvation of all souls, but especially for the sanctification of all priests. And her principal model in this was the Holy Mother of Carmen. In their daily life, they get up at 5 in the morning, they go into the chapel to make their first daily prayers, and then there is the Holy Mass. Following Mass, they clean up the house, they then have breakfast, and then they have group training activities. And throughout the day, they ensure that there is at least one sister before the Holy Eucharist in adoration. And our principal mission is to pray, and after that we have a time of rest. Every day at 12 noon they pray the Angelus and the Rosary, then there is lunch all together, and they have some time for training or other activities. Now, every Thursday night they have the grace to be with Jesus Christ in the consecrated host throughout the night. So they take turns to be with Christ throughout the night to provide support for him and all that he is suffering in these current times. We are now in the House of the Divine Providence. This is one of the major works undertaken by the Carmelites of the Holy Spirit here in Culiacan. And Sister Guadalupe, who is director of this center, will tell us something about the history and what it is now currently doing to help children here in Culiacan.
Buenas tardes, soy hermana.
Good afternoon, I am Sister Guadalupe. I am director of this social assistance home, the Divine Providence House, and I welcome you all here to this house for children that we are helping. This was set up in 1957, and it was established by Mrs. Carmen Alcaraz. She was very big-hearted, and she wanted to provide assistance to young people, to single mothers who had no way of providing for their children. In 1980, Carmen Alcaraz
deja este centro,
handed over this
esta obra
center,
social,
this
y nos
social
pide la
center,
congregación de
to
hermanas
the
carmelitas del
congregation
Espíritu Santo,
of the Carmelites of the Holy
que
Spirit.
atendiéramos esta casa ahora.
And so we took this center over.
Desde ese año,
Since that date,
hemos venido
we
trabajando
have been
con
working
niñas,
with young girls
desde 2 años
from
hasta
2 years upwards
adolescentes,
to their
14, 15
adolescence.
años
They
de
can be
edad,
14, 15 years of age.
a quienes brindamos una
And we
atención integral.
provide integral support to these children.
Las atendemos primero,
We provide
ofrecemos
them
un hogar
a
seguro,
safe house, a
donde
safe
les
home
brindamos
in which
techo,
we provide them a
alimentación,
roof,
formación,
food, training,
académica,
education,
espiritual.
and it's both academic and spiritual and training and support.
Tenemos una atención muy especial
We particularly pay
en la parte
attention
humana de las niñas,
to
porque son
the
niñas
human
que llegan,
side of these girls. These
con
girls
muchas
come with
deficiencias,
many
muy dañadas
difficulties. They've been
por
very
sus
damaged
familias, por los
by their
ambientes donde
families,
vienen.
by the surroundings in which they've been
Los
living.
apoyamos con
And we
especialistas
support them
que
with
puedan
specialists who
ayudarnos,
can give
como psicólogos,
help, such as
terapeutas,
psychologists,
maestros,
therapists, teachers.
quienes nos apoyan
These
para
all help
dar
us
una mejor
to
atención a las
provide
niñas
better
y
support to the
descubrir
girls
sus verdaderas
and
necesidades.
to determine their real needs.
Estas niñas vienen
These
de
girls
hogares
come
desintegrados,
from households that are homes that are broken down,
de
dysfunctional
hogares donde las
homes
niñas
and
han
families.
sido
These are
abandonadas,
places
han
where they've
sido,
been, these girls have been
algunas
abandoned.
veces
In some cases,
violentadas por su
they
familia.
have been the subject of violence by their other family members. I hope you enjoyed meeting the Carmelites of the Holy Spirit here in Culiacan. I hope you enjoyed visiting what Pope John Paul II called this garden in Culiacan. Unfortunately, there are forces within the Catholic diocese here who want to dig up this garden and cut its flowers. But that's for another time, another video, to be entitled The Tale of Three Bishops. See you again sometime soon, here in Culiacan, Sinaloa, Mexico.